Nexgen will set the benchmark in terms of how cities of the future should be built. And I believe these kind of projects will not only be a blueprint, but they'll also inspire a new generation of architects in terms of how they think about building sustainable cities. My name is Baharash Bagherian. I'm the CEO of URB, the mastermind behind Nexgen Sustainable City. As the CEO of URB, I'm leading a multidisciplinary team of architects as well as designers to create the next generation of sustainable cities. The idea of Nexgen is really derived from the mission of URB as a company, which is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable developments. And that's really because of the rapid increase in urbanization as well as the increase in climate change. The biggest challenge when it comes to sustainable communities is the knowledge gap. There's a common misconception within the industry that such communities cost much more to build, and whilst there's a slight increase in cost, the return on investment is much quicker and the value that's created is much higher. These projects are less about solar panels or water recycling. They're very much more about making sure that these places are socially inclusive. As an architect, you have a huge responsibility as well as a huge influence on how people live. And I think as an architect, you should use that responsibility very wisely. You can now influence the quality of life of the many. The short-term aims of Nexgen is to be able to get the right stakeholders as well as partners around the project itself, and to make sure that we have not only the funding secured, but also to make sure that all the land deals are in place, because our aim is to actually start construction by 2024, and we have a 10-year plan to complete the project itself. One of the unique features of Nexgen is the mobility aspect. So the design itself is centered around minimizing the walking distances for all the residents living there. It reduces stress, isolation, and it also is a great socially engaging feature. So that's why we are creating a city where within a few minutes people are able to reach all the various hubs by walking as well as cycling, or even using electric buggies to get around. It has many different residential typologies to meet the needs of all the different income levels within the project. It has a medical hub as well as an ecotourism hub and an educational hub covering nursery, school, as well as an institute. The Nexgen Sustainable City also promotes a green economy through the Green Tech Hub, where different companies can actually focus on agri-tech, food tech, as well as water tech and waste tech, because these are really the core foundations of the green economies of the future. As humans, we need to be more in touch with nature, more in touch with each other. I think given what's happening globally out there, the more we consume, the more wars we see, is really pushing us in a different direction. And I think that the best innovation of the future is for us to be more in touch with humanity. The success of these projects is not just in the planning, but also in the operation, so that they are constantly monitoring how residents are behaving, how residents are living and using the various assets within the development. And by doing that, the city itself will constantly thrive, and is also addressing the needs of the neighborhood itself. So the challenge is not just to build and just let people live there and be done with it. The challenge is actually to continue being involved in the project, to understand it better throughout the future years of its operation, and to continue working with that project as a living lab.